is this want or need or urge for a formulaic solution when it comes to elk calling. Regardless of what you've seen out there on YouTube, Instagram, it just doesn't exist. Not every situation is going to be the same. You can't apply this step, that step, and have a successful call-in setup every time. The reality is, if you start talking to guys that have called in 50, 60, 70 bulls, they're all gonna tell you the same. It might be in private conversation, but they're all gonna tell you the exact same thing, and that's that less than 1 out of 5, less than 20% of their call-in setups work out. Even when they're hitting the same elk day over day in the same geography, the same type of vegetation, literally the same elk. Still, each setup is a little bit different, and you've got to adapt your calling strategy. But in the end, all it is an odds thing, right? You're just trying to improve your odds. There is no set solution. So right there, that's a fact. All right, so now that you know that truth, I am gonna talk about one setup that I use, and I use this on private ranches where the elk are hunted very little. And I've also used this extensively in over-the-counter wilderness areas where you're hearing almost no elk vocalization, and you might only encounter elk every 3 to 4 days. If the opportunity arises to apply this strategy, what I'm gonna show you in this video, and I'm gonna walk you through me doing it. I'm gonna sit here and narrate exactly what I'm doing in the video. If you apply this strategy, there is a 70 to 80% chance it's gonna work. It's the only little calling formula that I know has that super consistent result, super high success rate. Does it work every time? No, but it's amazing how often it does. All right, guys, so I wanted to mention that I'm having these custom skinning knives made. These are called Cliff Skinner. I've got a whole bunch of reasons why I've had this knife made the way that it's made. Got a short video on the website. The details are there. pursuitwithcliff.com. Click in the corner up by shop, you'll see Cliff Skinner. Click that puppy, you'll get all the details. Ready, set, play. So you're hearing me using a sharply, almost annoyingly sharp calf call back to these calves. And the scenario is that you're hearing calf elk. When you hear calf elk, calves that are alone, they're gonna do this sharp calf sound. Mimic them exactly with slightly more intensity than them. Try to mimic their cadence and sound. And when you're doing it right, they'll vocalize back. Hear them? These calves are slowly moving towards me. There's edits in here because it's pretty drawn out. I'm only actually calling when they call. Here they're really looking for me. It's sharp, it's annoyingly sharply high pitched. Okay, so right here, this part so far that we've gotten to, guys, it's actually been about 5 minutes, but every time they call, I call back. Same cadence, same sound. They come right to your feet like this. 60, 70, 80% of the time, somewhere in there. Calves alone will do this. And for whatever reason, I don't know the biological reason, I've heard a bunch of different theories. You see this a lot, like September 10th until the end of the month, you see a lot of these little groups of calves. Here I'm trying to get the calves to vocalize to me just so I can get some good video for you guys. These calves are sub 10 yards. But you're gonna see the magic. You're like, who cares about calves? You'll see, we'll get there. This calf is looking for me here.
I do very few endorsement deals, and I do no paid reviews because it would affect the type of content, quality of the knowledge I could put out. So an important part of my business model is my membership group. I'll stick a link right here where you can sign up. There's paid and free options. I do a weekly live stream there. There's a thriving community of folks that are helping everybody become a better outdoorsman. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner or if you're an expert, there's something there for you. Go join, guys. It helps me out a ton. It's the way to support this content and to support me. I'll see you there.
See this calf here? These calves are still pretty smart. See that calf trying to win me? That calf is right in some quartering wind right there. Some more calves in the distance you can hear. There's a cow out there too. There you can see that calf making that sound. That was a good. Calves will do this a lot. They'll come right in and then they dawdle around you. They might even get a little bit of wind. They're not quite as cautious as mature cows or bulls. Right there, you can see that calf. Here you're gonna see the magic here in a second. Try to keep those calves close. Sometimes in like rut fests where there's lots of vocalizations, they won't come in real calm like this. They'll run in and then they'll ping pong around. They'll leave. They might wind you a little bit. They'll leave. They'll go out 100 yards. They'll show right back up behind you. They'll go in and out. In this case, these calves are being pretty calm right here next to me. In either scenario, this works though. Calves have winded me a little bit. They start to drift a little bit. Boom, bull shows up. I had no idea that bull was there. That bull was completely silent. That happens a huge proportion of the time that you get these little calf groups to come in and talk to you and you're getting them to stick around. You're just creating this ruckus. I have no idea why this is, but this scenario, this bull right here is 25 yards from me. Could have stopped it at any time, chirped at it, and boom, killed it with a bow. Easy. Cannot tell you how many times this has happened. Silent bulls come into this, and big bulls. This is a smaller bull, but I've had 370-inch bulls come into this out of nowhere, and I didn't know they were there. That's it. This is simply it, guys. So you're working the calves. You get them in there by basically mimicking them. They're very easy to call in. They're very susceptible to coming in. They're going to come in a lot of the time if you just mimic them with a little more intensity, a little bit higher pitch, particularly right at the beginning of your call. Here, this bull wins me. These cows were going around. They're smart. They're elk. They're trying to get my wind. This bull, he goes straight for the wind. I mean, he's been within 30 yards for, you know, a minute almost or whatever, right? So that would have been a dead bull. But guys, that's it. That's the strategy, okay? Basically, when you get the chance, when you hear calves out there, mimic them, try to call them in. A lot of times it's these pairs of calves, 2 or 3 calves. They're super susceptible to getting called in, and for whatever reason, bulls show up. I don't think that it's a sexual thing, you know, towards the calves. The calves are not of sexual maturity, but I've heard some theories that make sense. One of the theories that I've heard is that as these cows get close to estrus, they'll kind of partially wean their calves, right? They'll kind of kick the calf away, you know, during the, you know, that peak of the rut when they start to come into estrus and other cows are starting to come into estrus, and that's why you start seeing these little groups of calves. So when these bulls, they hear little groups of calves interacting and communicating a bunch, they know, okay, there's a group of calves over there that have been, you know, partially weaned and they're kind of off on their own. Usually there's other elk around. Those cows are somewhere, might be 500 yards away, 400 yards away, but those calves are just kind of doing their thing. And those bulls recognize that and they view it as basically an estrus sound. Not the calves themselves, but they know that there's a cow around there that's ready to breed, and so they show up on it spot on. And a lot of times they show up so quickly, and I haven't seen them in the vicinity, I get a feeling that they run to this setup. And then there, obviously, you know, they get to 100 yards, they slowly walk in and they pay attention as they always do. So guys, that's the strategy. Go implement it wherever you're at. Private, public, Roosevelt's, Rockies, Thule elk, whatever. It's a one call-in strategy that's a basic formula. Every elk hunter should know how to do it. Guys, if you got value out of this, do me a huge favor. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna send you off with this video right here. Why 5% of the guys kill 95% of the elk. Super useful, basic things, but based on a massive data set that I built up over a decade of guiding and outfitting primarily elk hunters. Go check it out, guys. I'll catch you later. Thanks for watching.